My interest in this time of life began as I neared my college graduation. I couldn't help but notice that practically everyone in my class was uncertain about their future. Except for the calm and happy few who had jobs lined up or were headed to law school, the scene felt like Godzilla had suddenly arrived on our shores. Some people started to panic and were throwing themselves in one direction or another, seeking some plan, any plan to survive. Some seemed utterly resigned, as if they'd determined that their best days were in the past. Others were still partying a little too maniacally, as if they believed that keeping the college life going would make the enormous threat disappear. Up until that point, we'd studied, written papers, and taken tests. We'd played sports, protested, partied, eaten lunch together in the cafeteria, and lain out on the vast lawn when it wasn't raining. We were occupied almost all of the time, but we were focused on getting through school and getting to graduation. Each class had deadlines and tests. Each semester led into the next one until graduation day itself was reached only after a last round of finals and preparation for visiting family. It happened quickly. Suddenly, here we were, finishing nearly 2 decades of school with very little direction on what to do afterward. Ample attention had been spent on how to get us into college and on sales pitches for which schools to attend. But now, we weren't customers anymore, just a bunch of people in our early 20s being tossed from the academic nest with no instruction other than, go on, that's all we have for you. I felt no clearer about what I was doing with my life than I had in high school. Most of the time, when I expressed my existential protestations, they fell on deaf ears. This was just the way things are, and I would figure it out. I found myself reflecting on one of the last scenes in the beloved rom-com of my youth, Say Anything. When I was a lovesick teenager, the scene that I'd replay over and over was of Lloyd Dobler holding a boombox above his head like Romeo wooing his Juliet. Of course, I also listened to the song he was playing, In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel, on repeat. But as I neared graduation, another scene from that movie started to creep into my consciousness. Diane Court, class valedictorian and Lloyd's Juliet, delivers a speech to a throng of fellow graduates and parents with whirring video cameras. She says at the end, "I have all the hope and ambition in the world. But when I think about the future, the truth is, I am really scared." That was me in a nutshell. All the ambition in the world and undeniably, utterly scared. 3 years after graduation, I was working as a project manager at a software startup in downtown Portland. Between this job and college, I tried to devote myself to a career in humanitarian work or social justice. I'd applied to countless nonprofit jobs and had volunteered a couple of times abroad, first at a prison in Bogota, Colombia, and then on the tsunami-ravaged coastline in Sri Lanka. I'd also worked various part-time, entry-level jobs to pay my bills. And in the early days of both social entrepreneurship and social media, I'd tried to start a company that would connect young people like myself with opportunities to help communities at home and abroad. Hence the foray into startups and tech. This project manager gig was my first well-paid full-time job since graduating, and I was grateful to suddenly have a savings account. But I wasn't happy. Beyond financial survival, I was no closer to understanding the point of what I was doing, nor did I feel like I was living a life destined for me. I had a good job and was grateful for that, but I was helping to build an entirely uninspiring tech product, seemingly born from the connections of an old boys club rather than any genuine vision or need. Most days, I stared out the window at the summer sky from 26 floors up, wishing that I were on the ground and on my bike instead. I had attempted to create a life for myself that made sense to my insides and also made an impact on the world, but I was failing. This wasn't what I'd envisioned for my future. This couldn't be the purpose of all I'd been working toward in so many years of school.